Tonight on WNWO News at 11.
With more snow falling on Northwest Ohio, how did residential neighborhoods fare?
The snow has moved out, but the bitter cold has not, and it is going to be sticking around for the start of our work week. I'll have all the frigid details in your forecast coming up.
And we're continuing to follow the latest developments out of Ukraine as the tension between that country and Russia grows. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, more worry now about the crisis in Ukraine. Protesters outside the Russian embassy in Washington, D.C. are calling for Russian forces to leave. And word tonight that Secretary of State John Kerry will travel to Ukraine's capital on Tuesday, perhaps responding to the acting prime minister's call for international help. NBC's Melissa Mollet has more from Washington.
Standing outside the Russian embassy.
Another news right here at home. Residents once again had to pull out their snow shovels after an overnight snowfall. As we enter a new week, WNWO's Eric Wildstein spent the day checking out road conditions and neighborhoods to see if they're back to normal. Certainly good advice from Eric, especially since temperatures are going to be dropping overnight. But just how cold will it get? Meteorologist Joe Thompson now in the Weather Center to tell us what the current conditions look like right now. Hey, Joe.
Well, Brian, it's going to be bitterly cold. We're going to be close.
Thank you, Joe. Happening right now. Toledo police continue to investigate a shooting outside a strip club that injured a woman. It happened at the King of Diamonds strip club on Matzinger Road early Saturday morning. According to police, 26-year-old Nicole Landrum was sitting in a parked car outside the club when someone shot her. The 26-year-old was taken to the hospital where she remains in critical condition. Police haven't caught the person responsible. Now, that's where they need your help. If you have any information on this crime, call Crime Stopper, the number on your screen, 419-255-1111. The Ohio State Highway Patrol is investigating a two-car crash that injured a state trooper. State Patrol says the crash happened last night before 11 on I-475 in Sylvania Township. Trooper Jacqueline Layson was parked on the side of the road behind a vehicle that had lost control and ended up in the median. The trooper was waiting for a wrecker to arrive when another vehicle driven by 17-year-old Brittany Kralik lost control and crashed into the patrol car and disabled vehicle. The trooper was taken to St. Luke's Hospital with minor injuries. The 17-year-old driver wasn't injured. A change of command ceremony at the 180th Fighter Wing officially took place today. It's a follow-up to a story we originally reported back on January 17th. Now, back in January, WNWO News was the only news organization in Northwest Ohio to tell you through a source that Colonel Craig R. Baker would take command of the Fighter Wing. Previously, Baker served as the 57th Wing Vice Commander at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada.
Ma'am, sir, I appreciate your trust, your confidence, your support. I promise you this wing will get what it deserves. 100% of my effort and always looking for ways to improve.
Baker replaces Colonel Stephen Nordas, who was recently promoted to Executive Assistant for General Frank Grass at the National Guard Bureau in Washington, D.C. Joe will have your full forecast after the break. Also, diners at one restaurant get an unexpected visitor. Video you don't want to miss when we come right back. Well, brunch goers at the Moby Dick restaurant on a wharf in Santa Monica had a saltier and wetter meal than they were expecting on Saturday. As this dramatic cell phone video shows, diner Forrest Buchanan just happened to be filming the scene right at the moment of impact. He had noticed the waves were getting higher and higher and even mentioned to fellow diners that the pier would likely soon be closed because of the high surf. He pulled out his phone to shoot the scene just as the wave crashed into the restaurant. Fortunately, even with all the breaking glass and the screams, no injuries were reported. Topping tonight's Metro Report, polio advocate Ann Lee Hussey made a visit to Toledo this evening. The Rotary Clubs of the greater metropolitan Toledo area presented an evening with Hussey, who is also a polio survivor. The world-renowned speaker and advocate held a private lecture and reception at the Valentine Theater. Hussey's right leg is an inch and a half shorter than the left, causing her to walk with a visible limp. That experience has led her to make over 20 trips to some of the most dangerous places on earth, like Nigeria, Mali, and Chad.
And I just think that people need to recognize that polio is still in the world today. It may not be here in their own community in the U.S., but it's lurking. It's around the corner. It's really only a plane ride away. We have the tools, we have the resources, we have the know-how to eradicate polio today, but funding remains one of our greatest challenges, and that's one of the reasons why we're here.
Well, polio is a highly infectious disease that primarily impacts children under the age of 5. It can cause paralysis and even death. Currently, there's no cure for the disease. The Polish-American community of Toledo has announced it's partnering with the Toledo-Poznan Alliance and the family of the late Martin Blazak to increase the number of scholarships available as well as their dollar amount. PACT announced it's seeking essays and applications from junior high, high school, and college students as part of its annual tradition. Scholarship amounts will increase this year to $1,000 compared from $750 in 2013. This year, 4 students will be awarded. Go to our website, northwestohio.com, for more. Now, thousands of people filled the Polish Village for the 24th annual Punchki Fest. Volunteers were serving up the old Polish tradition to customers who come as far as Fremont, Michigan. Now, a new action thriller is at the top of the movie box office this weekend. Nonstop debuted at #1 with a take of $30 million. The suspense thriller set aboard an airliner stars Liam Neeson as a federal air marshal. Son of God came in second place in its first weekend of release. The story about the life of Jesus earned $26.5 million. The Lego Movie came in third after 2 weeks in the top spot. The animated comedy adventure grabbed $21 million in ticket sales. All righty, lots of good movies always. Also a lot of good stuff always in sports.
Oh, you got it. Busy day for MAC basketball. Women's MAC teams BG and Toledo both at home today. And I got those highlights coming up.